Chapter 1 focuses on the idea of mutual trust and reflects on what exactly it is and why it's so important. The first video talks about the type of culture that we see in many leading organizations and how these organizations build their cultures around this idea of mutual trust and respect. The next video explores what research and experience tells us about the amazing benefits of trust, both in terms of its impact on the overall organization, as well as how it affects individual employees and managers. The final video provides instructions for using an innovative tool, which allows you to assess the current level of trust within your own organization. The tool is available as a PDF download. So I want to talk a little bit about this idea of culture and lean culture and trust and partnering. You know, we've kind of talked about in terms of partnering and coaching. And oftentimes this is something that's not connected with work improvement and even lean. A lot of times companies are doing lean, they just do the technical steps that you've seen, you know, the process breakdowns and the waste and the improved flow, but they just have the experts do it, or a small group of people that are, this is how we do it. You know, they don't really embrace the partnering style. And but as you're going to see, the world is moving towards the partnering style. This is the style that's working better and better. And if you want lean, you know, you can do the basic lean techniques without partnering, and get maybe a marginal improvement in what you're doing. If you do the lean techniques and buy into the partnering, you're going to get huge improvements, truly huge improvements. So the idea of lean culture is you have the command style, right? The traditional style, command and control style of management. What does management do? They direct people, they tell them what to do, and they enforce what they've told them, right? Hold them accountable. So what we want in a command style is we want employees to be compliant. They want to comply. We want them to comply, and we want them to be under control. Now, this works. It's worked for years, and it continues working. It is a low trust environment. You're going to, I mean, almost by definition, if you think about it, if you're basically telling people, look, I didn't hire you to think. I just hired you to do what I tell you. So that's, I mean, really kind of disrespectful in a certain respect. So anyway, these are very, very commonly in this kind of style. You're going to have low trust environment. Doesn't mean it doesn't work, but there's implications to it. In a lean culture, you prefer partnering style. It doesn't mean you get rid of command style. There are times when you need to command and control, depending on the person, depending on the situation. But you prefer partnering. You know how to do it. So a lot of managers don't even know how to do it, okay? So partnering style, rather than directing and forcing, the managers are guiding and coaching, okay? And what partnering style managers want from their employees is not compliance, blind compliance, and just be under control, but they want them to be engaged and they want them to be learning, okay? So you can see it's just a different philosophy, and it requires different skills. You know, there's a good way and a bad way to do it, but these tend to be high trust environments. And, you know, I'll show you a little bit of research on this of just how valuable this is. It's not just, I think the intuition you have is if you can pull this off, yeah, this would be great, but can I pull it off? But you're going to see the numbers where it really makes a difference if you can have this partnering style. Okay, I told you I was going to give you a little bit about the statistics. It's really mind-blowing what we found. Both trust and engagement are good ways of not only tracking how you're doing in this culture building, but also to see the effect of it. So Zach, just not long ago, did a very extensive study, compared the people employed by low trust companies versus high trust companies. And this is what he found. High trust companies had double the energy at work, 76% more engagement. And engagement is something, this is something it's measurable. Gallup measures it all the time. I sent you a paper on that. And it really means engaged employees are people that want to come to work, they give you their all, they're into it. Disengaged employees are there to earn a paycheck, and that's about it. So engagement has a lot of good positive features. I'll talk briefly about it. 70% less stress, higher productivity, more satisfaction with their lives. So, this is all extensive empirical data. Gallup, as I said, does this engagement survey, and I don't know if you can see it here. This is, they've been tracking it now for, 20 some years, and it's been going up. This is the percent of US workers who feel they are engaged, meaning into work, they're excited to come to work. And even though it's been going up, it's still only 33%, 36% right here. So only a third of workers in the US are actually engaged in what they're doing. The other 2/3 are disengaged. They're like, I'm coming to work, but I'm not into it, But a small percentage are what they call actively disengaged, which is right now about 14%. And these are really bad. You really don't want these people in your workplace, because they're the sabotagers, they're the bad mouthers, and they're kind of the people that are making it bad for everybody, not just you, but your customers and so forth. So, but again, Gallup has studied engaged versus actively disengaged work units. A lot less defects, a lot lower absenteeism, a lot higher profitability. I sent everybody this organizational trust assessment tool. This is meant to, it was developed, I developed it based on some great work from Stephen M.R. Covey, who wrote a terrific book on the speed of trust. And it's meant to give you kind of a self-assessment of where you stand in your organization in terms of the level of trust. For now, it's something for you to keep confidential to yourself. If you want to get a few other people to fill it out and kind of share that information, that's up to you. I always keep in mind, though, that typically the owner or the CEO of the company may think there's a certain level of trust, and maybe that's not the level that everybody else thinks. So that's always an issue. But the idea of this and how it's related to lean is, this is an indicator of how far along you are in becoming a lean organization. Lean will, as you start adapting lean, you will increase the level of trust in your organization. But at the same time, lean management requires a certain amount of trust. So here's the thing, and here's the kind of the bottom line scoring here. If you ended up in the low score where you only had an 18 or less, which means you were kind of over in this level 4 range, lean can definitely help you, but you want to be careful. You want to be a little cautious, because going out and trying to start partnering with your employees and some of the things you're going to be asking them to do, they can take the wrong way. There can be cynicism and skepticism, and so you have to be careful. If you are in the very low category, where you're basically down here, I wouldn't even try lean. You're actually in pretty serious trouble. I know none of you are there, because I know you all to some extent, and I know that's not where you're at, but that's the case. There are some businesses that are in that area. If you are in the normal or high range, you're perfectly positioned for lean management. I don't care.
For that organizational trust assessment tool, is that something that we fill out, or is that something that we want to give to our employees to kind of get a feeling of where they're at in the organization? Both.
Yeah, I'd say both if you're comfortable with it. It can be. Yeah. It's like these 360 reviews, where the CEO or the owner says what they think, but then they ask other people what they think about the owner and so forth. So as much as you want to use it, it wasn't really the purpose of the course. That's kind of a separate animal, but I do think I've gotten a lot of interest in that. And I think it's a very valuable kind of self-assessment of where you stand, and you want to give it out to everybody. If you do give it to other people, you may want to consider doing it anonymously, like having a trusted third party, like, you know, an accountant or something, collect it and then report the results anonymously.
Right.
Laughing has probably done something like that already, right? So, does that answer your question?
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay.